Following the tragic death of his 14-year-old daughter, Ian Russell has made global headlines in the fight to remove harmful content from social media.
When I saw my lifeless youngest daughter, my whole life had stopped.
As his daughter's inquest concludes, Ian reflects on his journey for justice and the influence of Molly's story. Molly Russell, A Father's Journey. Watch on BBC iPlayer.
You experienced racism. Why didn't you walk away?
That's a really good question.
You're a politician.
I'm not a politician. I don't read the polls.
Yeah, you
I
are
sit
a
in Judiciary Committee. No,
you are very definitely a politician.
No.
The very fact that there were not people who looked like you.
Hold on. I'm only halfway through my answer.
Is secret schooling happening across Afghanistan for girls?
It does.
You simply can't assume that.
Actually, yes, you can.
Hard Talk. Watch on BBC iPlayer.
Hello, I'm Christian Fraser. You're watching The Context on BBC News.
You wrecked the economy, Prime Minister. Time for another U-turn. Is it all
Liz
going
Truss's
to plan?
commitment to not cut public spending did nothing to ease the turmoil, with the government's borrowing costs rising again. In only her second appearance at Prime Minister's Questions, Liz Truss defends her government's record amid another difficult day on the financial markets. Joe Biden says he will advise Congress to look again at the relationship with Saudi Arabia. It could mean the United States walking away from key defense agreements. On the eve of the final hearing into the Capitol riots, the January 6th committee says it will provide new evidence that links the former president with the violence. Tonight, with The Context, Mick Mulvaney, President Trump's former chief of staff, and the former Conservative cabinet minister, Justine Greening. Hello, welcome to the programme. On a tour of the television studios this morning, the Business Secretary, Jacob Rees-Mogg, tried to blame the Bank of England rather than the UK's economic policies for the recent market turmoil. We're going to head to a quick break. Do stay with us because we're going to talk about Ukraine. I'm going to tell you about an extraordinary story in Las Vegas. And, of course, we'll look ahead to tomorrow's committee hearing on the Hill regarding January 6th. Do stay with us. Hello, I'm Christian Fraser. You're watching The Context on BBC News. NATO greenlights a new era of air defence in Ukraine. The first surface-to-air missiles have arrived from Germany, with much more to come. At a meeting of 50 nations in Brussels, the US, the Netherlands and France pledged to send high-tech systems to repel the Russian bombardment. And an investigative journalism at its finest. The Las Vegas newsroom that put grief to one side and launched an investigation into the murder of one of their own colleagues. We'll have the story. And do you know someone who's had COVID recently? The numbers are rising again. The WHO is pointing to the damage that is done by long COVID. Tonight, with the context, the former Conservative Cabinet Minister Justine Greening and Mick Mulvaney, President Trump's former Chief of Staff. Welcome back to the programme. This morning, Ukraine's armed forces said they shot down 4 Russian helicopters in just 18 minutes in the south of the country, a claim that was partially confirmed by pro-Russian sources on the Telegram messaging app. In recent days, they have taken down cruise missiles that were fired at Ukrainian cities using man-portable anti-aircraft systems. But the discussion in Brussels today among the 50 nations that gathered at NATO headquarters is how to provide much more sophisticated air cover. The Russians are targeting the civilian infrastructure, substations, power plants across the country in an attempt to deprive Ukrainians of the energy they'll depend on this winter. In Kyiv and Lviv, there have been rolling blackouts. The US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says it reveals the malice and the cruelty of Vladimir Putin's war. Now, it's time for the panel. Justine, let me start with you because I know a lot of people who have COVID, and you want to talk tonight about the resurgence of the COVID and the longer term effects and what sort of effect that's having on our filling posts, empty posts in the economy. Interesting. We'll follow that case closely. Mick Mulvaney, it's always a pleasure to have you on the programme. Thank you very much. Justine Greening, lovely to see you again. Thank you both for your company this evening. As I say, tomorrow night we're going to focus on the January 6th committee. We'll have all the evidence that is presented. We'll give the programme over to that, so I hope you'll join us for that. But that is it tonight. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.